Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Make It Monday. I'm so glad that you're here. I am Lisa Fulford, your creative coach, and I hope that you love today's card. Today is June 30th, but this Friday is 4th of July. So I was in that mindset. I've got my Land of the Free 4th of July shirt on, and so I'm in that mindset trying to think ahead and think, oh, what kind of a card could I make for the 4th of July? And so I think I came up with the perfect card. I saw one on Pinterest that was similar to this, and if I can find it again, I will put it on in the description below, like where I saw it and things, but because I like to give people credit on their creations. I did change mine up a bit, and hopefully you can see how I use product in different ways. And so it was a lot of fun trying to come up with different things to use for my card. And so before we get started, let's see, anything new? Oh, today is that last day for the buy one, get one 50% off on the, if it's in a suite or it's like you can buy a suite and get a second one 50% off, or you can buy items that are in the suite. So like if you buy an embellishment and then you buy something else, or if you buy paper and then also buy an embellishment, whichever one is the cheaper price is going to be the 50% off. But I think today is the last day for that. So if you want to get in on that special that Stampin' Up! Is running, it goes through June 30th. So that's today. And so let's look forward to Friday with this card. So I'm going to change it to my countertop and we'll get started with this card. And I'll show you some ways to use some of your dies in a different way. There we go. All right. So when I said I'm going to use some dies in a different way, I have a few products that might be retired. I could not find any stars in any of our products that we have with Stampin' Up! So I'm going to bring in the items that I'm using for my card. And so this is a retired set, and you would not think citrus blooms would work for a 4th of July card, but the dies do. I kept looking through everything that I had, looking for a way to use stars, and I'm not certain, but it might, I have it it's saying retired. It might still be available on the last chance. Instead of putting last chance, I had all these labels made. I mean, I have a roll of them that say retired, so that's why I'm putting on everything. But anyway, the dies, I pulled those out and was looking at them, and the flowers in here. So I have the big one already cut out. I try to cut as much stuff as I could ahead of time. So this, to me, it looked like a star. And then, oh, there it is. It's hard to find it when it's in there with all the stars. And I've dumped this tray multiple times. And then here's the one that's got 3. Now they look a lot like stars, where this one here kind of does have a bit of a little piece right here that you can tell it's a petal, but I can show you how to fix that where you don't notice that. So I already have some stars and things cut out. Whoops, I keep doing that. So we'll set this off to the side. So that's what we're using the citrus bloom dies for, and they're awesome. So I don't know if they're still available or not, because I know pretty certain we have a new citrus one out, and it was on that last chance list. I don't know if it still is or not. I'll try to check, and I'll put the code and the link below if it's still available. So there's that. Then I needed something to say celebrate, celebration, something like that. Everything I kept finding was retired again, but a long time retired. And so I don't like to do that very often. Like using the citrus blooms for my stars. Okay, I can let that go. But I don't like to use stamp sets and different things too often if they're already, retired and have been for a while. So I'm like, oh, I know where there's one at. It's in the beautiful butterflies, and it's time to celebrate. So I'm using this stamp, nothing to do with the butterflies, but I'm using this stamp. So I was pulling from all different ways so that I could use these in different ways than what, it looks like they're for, so that I could get a really cute card. So there's that stamp. And then the sentimental framing dies. Now it goes with some wording and things, and so when you open it up, they're stuck together. I haven't put them on their magnet sheets yet. There we go. And you get all these framing pieces and different things. And then there's this framing piece. To me, that's for a greeting. So I used that. And then there's another one that is a long, skinny piece. And I'll show you that in just a moment. But aren't these just gorgeous dies? They're so pretty. And so that is what we're using on this card also. So I'm going to show you the card. Let me find it here. Here's my card. I used Blueberry Bushel, Real Red, and Basic White. And then the ink on here is Blueberry Bushel. And I embossed it. You can't see it, but you can feel that it's embossed. But I'm going to show a different way than what I did here. A different way to emboss it. Ways that, a lot of you know, but if you're new to stamping or card making or things like that, or just crafting in general, there are little tricks that you may not know. So I'm going to share a few things there. But I thought it just turned out adorable. It's my stripes, my stars. Now, I realize the stars probably should be on the blue, but I needed different ones to pop. And so I didn't want to put the blue on the red. I was trying to bring more red into my card. So it's a little, not quite accurate to a flag, but you can tell that it's for 4th of July. And I thought it turned out really cute. So this is the card we're going to make. Okay, so the pieces that I have here is a thick basic white, and it is, oh gosh, it was 8 1/4. Let's see. Nope, that's not right. I need to measure it because I cannot remember. Okay, so yeah, it's 8 1/4, and it was scored at 5 1/2. So yes, so 8 1/4 by 5 1/2. I don't know what I was thinking. I'll just say that now. I have no idea what I was thinking. So 8 1/4 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. Yes, that's an odd measurement. So if you want, do 11 inches by 4 1/4, and then cut off, let's see, 2 and, no, I don't want to confuse everybody. 2 3/4. So if that's easier, then do 11 by 4 1/4 and cut 2 3/4 off one end, and then score it at 5 1/2. Or you can do 8 1/4 by 4 1/4 and score at 5 1/2. I was confusing myself, so I'm sorry if I'm confusing all of you. So there's that. And then we have Blueberry Bushel. And one of them is okay, so it's 2.5 by 4 inches. And then we have another one that is 2.5 by 4 and 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. So that's what that one is. And then we have real red. We have one that is 4 by 5.5. And then we have another real red piece here that is 2.5 by 4.5. And then we have a couple basic white pieces. And we've got one that is 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. And then another one that's 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. So there's that. And so with this one, this is where I'm going to get my stripes from. And the die that I'm going to use is this one. And what I did was I put the die on my piece of cardstock. And up here, I tried to get it as straight as I could. And I had the dotted line at the bottom and the larger holes at the top. And then I ran it through my cut and emboss machine. And then I took the top of this and see how it's the dots are here. And then this is the top of my die cut. I left a little gap there. So I did that each time. And you can see right here, there's the dotted line, and then here's a creased line. You can see it better right there. And each one of them are that way. Now, one of them, this one here, I did get it upside down. And you need at least 5 of these strips. Now, I will tell you that with the, this is mint tape, I had to seriously get it non-sticky because it was tearing the face off my cardstock. But you need something to hold this die in place. So I'm going to remove this die because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is number 7. So I just went ahead and I fill it as many as I can. And then when you take it apart, you've got all of these pieces. So when I started, I have the larger ones at the top. I just went ahead and did it ahead of time, but I was going to show you how I did it. And then I just get real close, make certain I tape it down, and see how I just barely have any of the red showing. Then I run it through the die cut, and then I pull this up and I go to the next one, how I had here. Now I'm going to show you how we do to now get those as stripes. So that's that other die cut. See how it's kind of decorative, like almost, I don't know, like almost like circus decorations, but there's like these little dot things, but they almost look like stars when you look at them. I don't know if you can look at an angle or something, but looking at them in person, the dots almost look like stars. So that's one of the dies. And of course this one, and that's what this one piece is for, is to run your dies through, this die through, and also to get your stars. And so you'd put one on each end. I'm going to dump them everywhere again. Then I put the bigger one on the other end, and I just keep working them to closer together until I've got it full and get as many of the stars that I need. And I will show you. This is what you get from this die. So this piece, I already have it cut, and that's what we're going to do stamping on. I'll move that die out of the way. All right, and we don't need this because I already have that done ahead of time. I was trying not to have this be a super long video. So I'm going to move this over here along with that. And then also, this one here, we're going to put this white sentiment over the top. So see right here through the middle? you can place your star, or it's a star to me. You can do that and just keep adding it down until you don't want to go too far down. You want to make certain, and if you need to, put this down and kind of underneath of it, kind of mark it with a little pencil. And then down here, pick it up, kind of mark it with a little pencil. And then know that you have to stay within those guidelines there. And you can mark the top, but I'm doing it a little bit under this so that they won't show whenever I've got it on there. And then you can cut all your stars out of the center of this because it's going to be covered up and you won't see it from the back. And then that way you can get the most out of your cardstock. I did that with the piece. I did more stars than I really needed, so I did that already out of another piece, so I'm not going to cut more. All right, so put them back in there. That way I don't lose them. All right, so I'm going to bring in my paper cutter and show how I make these into the stripes for the flag. All right, so in between the dotted line, there, come on, focus there. See, here's the dotted line, and then there's that groove line. I'm going to cut on that groove line. So I'm going to put it in my paper cutter and do my very best to line that up. Cardstock looks crooked. Cut it. So there's one of my stripes. I'm going to do the next one. Don't want to cut my dotted line. I want to cut on that score line. That didn't sound good. My finger was under the... And I'll show you how to get those rough edges off. My finger was under it. It didn't go straight. That's all right. We'll make it work. We need 5. My finger out that time. There we go. So there's 3. And you could probably do it with less. Oh, here's that tricky one because I turned it the wrong direction. Let's see if I can get it. Because you could cut one in half. Actually, a couple of them in half. So there's 4. And there's 5. Pardon me. All right, so I have this sander here, and I just put my thumb on top of that because there's a lot of frayed edges because it is pretty soft because it's been through the die cutting machine so many times with that really decorative die cut. So I put my thumb on here and just, it pulls all that fuzz off. I'm just taking, so this is a little tip. See, all this stuff's falling off, and anything that's still left in the holes. See, there's no frayed edges anymore. This one has a lot of fray edges on the along here. This one here, I think I'm gonna have to trim that edge off because I think I got too far down compared with all the others. I may have to. Start it in the middle, that way it would cut nicer. Excuse me, I need a drink because I'm going to cough again. Sorry about that. I have a tickle. All right. All right, so there's that. And I had a, there it is. I'm picking up all the little pieces. And it's just a lint roller, and it works wonderful. That way, everything's off your workstation. All right, so let's get started putting our card together, and then we'll do the stamping. So I'm going to put the mountain on the inside of my cardstock. I just find that I get a better crease if I do that. I'm looking for my, there it is, my bone folder. There we go. One dot left on there. There we go. And then I did cut my little white piece down by like a 16th, I think. But you do not have to do that. So I'm going to just flip that over because I have pencil marks on there. No, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to add glue to my piece of real red that I have left now, because I've already cut that one apart and it's too large anyway. And then I'm going to add that to my largest piece of blueberry bushel. I hope you love this card and see how fun it is to just use your products in a different way than what they were actually intended for. I like it whenever you can get more out of your product. Okay, so there we go. And you know what? I think my nails are blueberry bushel. They match. So there's that. And then this other piece here, the other piece of blueberry bushel, I'm going to take that glue and I'm going to add it to the front of my card. Like that. All right, and then let's see these pieces. All right, so the best way that I found to add my stripes in, I'm going to grab my silicone mat just in case, but there is enough open space on these that you can put your glue on it. Because when I was doing it, I thought, oh, I should put the sticker sheets behind it. And then I'd already gotten started and I decided, oh, well, too late now. And then when I made my card, I'm like, oh, this is not bad at all. There's a lot of open space that you can add. I'm going to grab my tweezers. I find that it works best because I don't want to mess the front of this up. Let's see, did I put the largest open, like the dots, the bigger ones, I put them towards the top. So I'm going to take it in here and I'm going to leave about maybe a 1/4 inch from the top. And I don't want to put it all the way into that crease because I want my cardstock to be able to still fold. So I'm trying to get it straight and leave myself a border up there. Okay, make certain it'll close. Then we'll do the next one. And you would think you would do it in the next row, but you do not. There's plenty of places to put glue on the back of this one. And we want the largest openings up. Then we're going to go down to the bottom and we're going to leave an opening like that as well. Make certain it'll close, and it will. Press that down. Now I'm going to do the next one. Notice it's a little dark right here in front of me, so I'll try to move that up so it's easier to see. I'm sorry. Get that glob of glue off there. And there's just little open spaces to put glue. And I found that if you don't get real up close to those openings, it does not squish out. So there we go. Once again, we're going to put these larger openings towards the top. We're going to go back up to the top and leave about the same amount of opening space. So about like that. Make certain it'll close. Then we're going to do the next one. And we'll go back down to the bottom. And we're working our way up. Notice there's one still in there. There we go. I want to glue it down because it would make it look, well, I got a couple in there. They're just going to have to stay. I didn't notice them ahead of time, or I would have pulled them out too. It was sticking in the die. I was having to poke it out of the die like crazy, so I didn't even think about them being still in a piece of cardstock. It'll be mostly covered anyway, so bring that one up, press that down, and then we'll do the next one. I'll make certain they're all knocked out. So a couple of them got by me, but that's all right. It's homemade. It's the blessing of making a card to give to family and friends, and they'll love it just because you made it for them. I made one for my neighbor, and she goes, "Are these your infamous cards?" I'd never given her one, and she was delighted. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, I didn't know you did that." 19 years now I have. Sometimes I ask them, how could you not? A lot of times if you send Christmas cards, it takes them a while to figure out that it's handmade. Oh, look at that. Did that not come together like flag stripes? Isn't that pretty? All right, so now then it's time for a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to get this out of the way. This out of the way. I think we're move that over. And I'm going to show you a trick with the stamping as well. All right, so you start out with a clean stamp. And here I had tried it. So I'm going to use, I'm doing clear embossing powder. I'm going to grab my embossing buddy, because I don't want it to stick anywhere but on my words. Okay, so I'm just tapping that on there. It's white, so you won't notice it. If it's black, oh my goodness, it really shows it. So I'm going to open my blueberry bushel, and I'm going to tell you this is a messy ink pad, because, and it came that way, and they did, I think, send me a new one. I just haven't gone through and found it, but see, it sticks because the ink pad is coming out. But here at home in my studio, I use that one. When I go other places, I don't take that one. I don't want it to get all over everybody. And this is a well-loved Versamark pad. This looks like it is dirty, but it still stamps clear. But I'm going to show you how I do for embossing. So I've got my embossing gun here. And when I'm embossing, unless I'm talking, you're not going to hear anything. It'll sound like my audio went out, but I have a noise canceling, so you won't hear the embossing gun, the heat gun, unless I'm talking, is usually how it works. Okay, so I'm going to take and ink up. Now, this won't hurt your stamp pad in any way. And you want to go from Versamark to your regular ink pad. And it does not hurt it in any way. I've done this for 19 years, and this is how I've done it. And but you don't want to go from ink to this. That's how you get it to look like that. Classes and different things. So we don't usually do this technique inside a in-person class because they forget and they put it back, and then I have to use a spoon and re-ink it. Just a lot, but so I'm inking it out well with the Versamark. I want to make certain that it, and you can see whenever you, I don't know, maybe you can't see it on, when you press it, see how it turns darker? When you press it into it, it turns darker. That way you know it's inking up. And then I'm going to tap my ink right here. Make certain that time, because that doesn't want to ink up as well. And then I want to make certain I get it straight and there's a glare. And because this has the Versamark, I don't have to be like crazy about getting the powder on there right away. The tea got a little something on it, but that's all right. Like I said, they'll be blessed to get it because it's homemade. And you can tell that your embossing powder is on there because it gets kind of a milky color. But even with the doing the embossing buddy, I know this is clear, but I also don't want it to be shiny all over. I want it to make the sentiment pop. All right, so now then I'm going to heat this and make it get shiny and embossed. Make sure I don't have glue on me. Or I mean ink. All right, here we go. And you can watch the process as it turns darker. You want to heat up the heat gun. I've got it on number 2, and you want to heat it up for a few moments before you start embossing. There, it's starting to go. Getting darker here, and it's more milky down there. You can see it changing. And I like to go from the back so that it'll make it pop up. Now, if you overheat it, it turns kind of dull. Look how pretty. That tea's just a little bit messed up, but I can live with that. I can't get it to show you the shiny, but it is really shiny. I don't want to touch it because I don't want to mess up the raised up, but it shines. So now I'm going to close up my Versamark so that does not. And I keep this ink pad of Versamark with my embossing powder. I have others around, but I keep this nearby. That way I know there's one there all the time. You can use Versamark also to be like a watermark on, like tone on tone. and I have others to use that. So I'm going to let that cool for a moment. All right, so now it's time to do our stars, and I'm putting them face up. There's a back side and a front side, and the front side's smooth, and there's edges on the back side of the stars. Now see, like I said, this one has, oops, see this little petal here, how it has that little bump out? We're going to hide that. I've got medium stars. I got little bitty stars. I don't really know how many I'm going to need. I just started putting them on there, and these are stuck together. There's that one. I hope you'll give this card a try. It's so cute. We were invited to a 4th of July party coming up, and so I don't know, I might give this card to the hostess. The hostess with the mostest. All right, so I've got some large ones, I've got some medium ones, and then I got some smaller ones. So we'll move that out of the way. I'm going to bring in my silicone mat now that I've got those all laid out. And I'm going to put some glue down like that. Then I have my take your pick tool right here. And I'm going to take this one, and the part that's got the little petal-y thing on it, because it is a flower, it's a die cut for a flower, I'm going to put it up at this corner, but I want that petal piece facing in. So it's coming towards the center, because we'll cover that. And then we're going to take a medium one. We're going to put it kind of down there. Maybe need to go up a little bit. These actually do look like stars, so I think it's raining at my place again. Off and on. The whole weekend it's been rainy and different things, so. They say it's good luck if it rains on your wedding. And some friends of ours' daughter got married, and it didn't end up raining. See if I can move that. Whoops. We're going to leave that one there. We'll just put another one down. All right, so I'm going to glue this one down. So I want to see about where I want it. I'll put my finger where I know not to go past that. And see, right now I don't have a sentiment on it, so it didn't matter which end. Try to center. I also kind of want to center with those stripes. There we go. I'll take this little one. Need a little bit more glue. Put it down here. I think I'll take this larger one, kind of add it up there, like that. So it's going to look a little different. So now then I want to do dimensionals on the back of this. I'm still going to add more stars, but I want to place this before I put my stars. But with doing dimensionals, I can slide them up underneath wherever I want them to be. And this is kind of bowed a little bit from all the heating. So using the dimensionals will help lay it out flatter and hold it in place. You can glue it down if you want. There we go. Like that. All right. So now then, I'm going to grab my white ones. I need to put a little bit more glue. Little white stars. Let's see. Let's go for this larger one. And I know I want to put that one petal. I want to hide it. So I'm going to stick that. And maybe I'll put it down here. So where'd it go? Right there. Stick that under there. I'll take one of these medium ones. Put that up here. That one's upside down. There we go. We'll do a little one up here. We'll put a medium one. I wonder if I could pick them up and add the glue to them. I don't know if I can. I might get too much. I'll try it. A little wetter doing it that way, but we'll make it work. No, that one's upside down. This one's a little bit bigger, so I could probably do that one. And I think I'm out of all the little ones. Put it there. So it doesn't have to be exactly like the one that I made ahead of time. All right, so now then we got one more step and then we're finished. All right, so these I'll put back in the tray in case I make another one. In case I need a star for something else. I just thought that was pretty neat that I could find a flower that looked like a star. All right, so this next piece to put inside. So I'm going to show how I did that. I put this down on my blue piece. And like I said, I took just a sliver off. So, I mean, you can see a little bit of blue, but not hardly any at all. So I'm going to hold my finger there, hold it in place. I'm going to put glue on my corners. Around my finger. It doesn't have to be on every part. Then I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold it over, put my finger, and then work my way down it. And then that way, when this is closed, you don't see that white piece of cardstock behind it. There we go. You can add a piece in here if you want, but I didn't feel like it needed to be. You could put a red star in here. I have one left over. And if you wanted, I like it the way that it is, but if you wanted, you could add a bow to it. You could add, let's see, I've got some shimmer here. You could add little gems to your stars if you wanted. So that is Wink of Stella. Makes it hard to see with the, artificial lighting. But there's shimmer all over that. So there is my card. So here's the one I made before. Here's the one I just made. And this one has shimmer on it. Now it's laying down. I can see it even more. And then doing a whole sheet of the long die cuts, and then leaving little areas so that it makes a kind of a debossed area, and then there's the dotted area. Then you can cut them apart to make your stripes for your flag, and then just cutting out all of the stars using those flower die cuts. And then this is gorgeous to just, it kind of looks like at a parade, like the buntings and things. So I thought it really looked like it should be for a celebration. And so I hope you like that, and that you're glad that you joined in today. I appreciate every view that I get, and I haven't said this in a while. If you are enjoying the content that I'm giving, then if you would hit the like button and maybe subscribe to my channel, I would greatly appreciate that. It helps me grow my channel, and I bring more cards your way and other craft things. And so I'm really looking forward to crafting with you again soon. So thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, happy stamping and happy 4th of July. Bye-bye.